Welcome to RV to Freedom Live. We are here with Kelly and Marshall, and we're going to talk about their boondocking addiction. Because they are addicts. They are camp addicts and everything else.
And we are addicted to boondocking.
You are. Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yes.
I mean.
Totally. Yeah.
So we said Kelly and Marshall, and let's hear a little bit more about each of you.
All right, my name is Marshall Wendler. I have been full-time RVing for coming up on 4 years now. I live in a 24-foot travel trailer and run Camp Addict. Oh, and I blog, right.
Well, Camp Addict is more important.
Yeah, Camp Addict. I blog at findingmarshall.com.
Yes. That's how I first knew you, as Finding Marshall, rather than Camp Addict.
Correct.
Right.
And Kelly, how about you?
Yes, I'm Kelly Beasley. I've been on the road upcoming 3 years now. I have a 24-foot travel trailer and a Toyota Tundra to pull it. I blog at rvchickadee.com, and I have to share Camp Addict with this one, but gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, and I exclusively boondock, and most of the time I'm traveling together with this one.
Yeah. And you guys did not just say, everyone knows they didn't start out on the road together or anything like that.
Right.
But I do know you met boondocking.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit that and how you started traveling together.
So.
And working together.
Yes, and working together. About 2 years ago, January 2 years ago, we met in Kofa, which is just south of Quartzsite, Arizona. I was doing a New Year's thing with a group of friends, and Kelly, yes, including these two, and Kelly was in the area as well, and she connected with my group of friends via a mutual
friend. Thanks to social media.
Yeah, social media. And
put out a plea, is there anyone out here that's in their 40s somewhere, single? It's like, I felt like I was the only person in Quartzsite who qualified that way, so thank God I put that plea out.
And it was even connected by someone who wasn't even at Quartzsite, just our social director, Jen Neely.
Right, exactly. Doing the hookups, the connections, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I went and I met up with the group, and I had just started boondocking, and I mean, literally, like that week. I mean, I'd been on the road for about 8 months, but I had been stationary, so I got connected with them, and we had a great time together. It was there maybe a week and a half. People slowly started leaving, and once everybody left, I was just so sad. I was like, man, I wanted it to keep going. But so everybody departed. I went my own way, and then a few weeks later, we had kept in touch, so we ended up connecting back together again, and we've just kind of ended up traveling ever since. We're not dating, but we travel together. And it just happened, and we never talked about it. Yeah, it
just was an organic thing where we just continued going on, traveling together, and we found out that we are very compatible travel partners.
Yeah.
And it just works really well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you guys didn't even talk about it. It just kept happening.
You're like, just one day you just kind of realized it. It was like, wait.
Yeah.
Do you want, like...
I think
are you cool with this? Because this has just been happening, you know?
Yeah.
But we were totally fine with that, and then that grew into the business because we realized we meshed well together, and it was like we were both really upset about our jobs. We couldn't stand our jobs, and he was already talking about starting a new website because he had done this before, so. We had different skill sets, and he thought, I really think you'd be very helpful. I can do this and you can do that. Why don't we start doing this together? So we jumped on it and said, okay, we get along really well. I think this could really work. I think we could help each other, and that's how Camp Addict was born.
Nice. Yeah. And you guys are still working at it and doing everything, and it's a great site. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, I'm still building it up, putting content on. It's a process.
Never ending. Yeah, it'll never end.
So let's hear about what got you interested in boondocking, and you almost basically did it from the start, and then find out about you too, Marshall. Started.
Well, yeah, for me, I mean, I think part of the reason I actually hit the road was because the high cost of hotels and mortgages and rent always bothered me. I mean, since high school, it bothered me. But I went ahead and did it. You do the whole social life thing. You do what you're told to do. and you're programmed that way, and I did it. And then I just kind of found myself in a place where I thought, do I want to keep paying, this whole mortgage, or what else can I do? Found out I could get really good rental income, so that was all it took. 6 months later, I had rented my house out, had a truck and a trailer, and I was on the road.
Wow.
And it doesn't hurt that my mom has done it for 20 years.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she doesn't boondock. She's a campground girl.
Mm.
So I definitely did it differently. But that's I just love to save a buck, or to not have to spend money where I don't have to spend money. I'd rather spend it on experiences. So
Yeah.
paying for a campground for me, I'm just paying for noise, I'm paying for neighbors, I'm paying for power when I can get free power, no noise, no neighbors, beautiful, much better scenery than in a campground. So that's what it was for me.
Yeah.
It still is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It kind of tells you why you're out there too, because you
Yeah.
can do all that.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah.
So
Big deal.
I was on the road for just over a year before I had my first boondocking experience. I actually sort of did a East Coast swing, and if you don't know, there's not a lot of boondocking in the East Coast. And then I was semi-stationary in the Austin area for a little while I was trying out dating someone who was stationary,
Yeah.
and doesn't work when you're nomadic. And so, yeah, about 13 months into it, I had my first boondocking experience at Walnut Canyon, just outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. Met up with some people that I knew online but had never met in person, and boondocked with them for a few days. And then I headed off and did campgrounds for a while longer before. It was probably about another 4 or 5 months before I started boondocking again.
Oh,
And then
wow.
basically ever since then, I've not been paying for camping.
Yeah. I didn't realize they had such a little stretch in there
Yeah.
from when you went out Walnut Canyon to then when you started doing it again.
Yeah, it
I
was.
thought it was almost instant.
No, no. Had a little taste of it. Then I had sort of a schedule to keep,
Okay.
and that's back when I, actually had schedules.
Yeah.
Don't do that anymore. So, yeah. So there was a bit of a gap.
Yeah. Yeah. But then you guys, well, you've been doing it ever since, so why do you like to get out there and do it? Kind of heard from Kelly
Well,
about that.
a lot of the same reasons that Kelly likes it. I enjoy not paying for campsites.
Yeah.
I enjoy the openness that boondocking offers. You can be as away from people or as close to people as you wish. It's just a variety of things. You literally have $1 million views when you're boondocking in some locations
Yeah.
that you cannot get
Yeah.
when you're in an RV park.
Mm-mm.
Or if you can get in an RV park, you're paying a whole bunch of money each night for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just like the freedom of that boondocking allows.
You have views that you can't get in a hotel.
Absolutely. I mean,
For
I
free.
totally agree with you. I mean,
It's like
where
a-
we are, it's like a beautiful view of the mountains. And
Yeah.
I've been by the RV parks. I'm like, I know that one's expensive. What's it like in there?
Yeah,
Trying to
right,
look, and I'm like,
exactly. It's like,
Man, that's not as good of a view. Or in Idaho, I have to say, we were down the street from $1 Million Homes.
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Literally down the
Arnold
street. And I
Schwarzenegger
think-
lived on that street.
Yeah, we have better views than they did.
Yeah, we
we
did.
did.
Yeah, we did.
I feel like I'm getting away with something,
Yeah.
Like this is a big secret.
Right. Right. It's
Maybe
yeah,
we shouldn't be
it's like
talking
this-
about this.
Right.
Yeah, right. Let's quickly change the subject.
Yes. We don't need everybody to come out here.
No. Thank God
It's
not
kinda
everybody
fun.
wants to do it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a nice thing to experience sometimes, and you can always mix it up. These guys just happen to do it almost all the time.
Yeah.
Without thinking, it's just how
It's just,
how we roll.
it's become our lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
We really like it. It fits our personalities and the way we like to travel, and it works.
It's easier to me than campgrounds too, because then you have to make a reservation,
Right.
make sure you can get in, then you have to find it. You have to find your boondocking too. That's fine, but then you have to, stop at the office and get whatever, and then they
Check
tell you
in.
they tell you all your rules.
Yeah, that's okay.
And
Yeah.
then you got to
Yeah.
go park, and you might have to back in, and we don't have to back in. I can back in. I'm perfectly capable, but
But you can just
I'd rather
find a
just
nice
pull
spot
into an
pull
area
in.
and adjust to where my view is perfect,
Yep.
and then get level, and then I'm happy. I don't have to. They tell me where to stay. It's just
Yeah. She's got a little rebel
Not
in her.
for me.
Yeah, just a little bit of rebel.
Just a little rebel.
Yes.
Rebel?
Rebel.
Rebel.
in you.
Oh, rebel.
Yeah, you're like, they told me something, so I'm going to do the opposite.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
Don't tell me what to do,
Right.
man. I've experienced this freedom, so
Yeah.
I'm not happier out here.
So I know you guys mentioned with the trailers you have at the top here with the intro, but if you could go into a little bit more about what you have and even your solar setup, because I know people are going to be interested in that, since everyone's like, what do you have to go boondocking?
Yeah.
Sure.
No, you.
Okay.
You start because it's solar.
So
Anything about the solar yet? I'm not there.
I have a Lance 1995. That's the model's in 1995, and it's a 24-foot travel trailer, which means the box itself is just under 20 feet. It's got one slide. It's somewhere south of 175 square feet. It's perfect for one person, and it's my first and only rig so far. I did a lot of research prior to hitting the road, and I got pretty lucky with getting my first rig as being just about perfect for me. And I tow it with a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Solar, I've got 160 watts on the roof, and then I've got another 160 watts on ground deploy. So what's that, 320 watts total, which is sort of the bare minimum of what I need. Days like today, we're having, the clouds have rolled in, so it's now officially become a bad solar day, so I need a lot more solar than I currently have in order to, if I wanted to, do anything with my power.
But you did recently get a generator,
I
right?
did recently get a generator. Back in September of last year, I finally broke down and got a 2,000 watt portable generator. I had been
We were up in Washington.
Yeah, I was
Coast.
kicking and screaming because I don't like generators.
Proud of not having a generator.
Right.
Yeah, and I was all proud. But we were doing a swing through the Olympic Peninsula of Washington, and
You need it.
You have trees, and it's Washington, so you have clouds.
Yeah.
And we were boondocking or free camping, and did not have hookups, so I could no longer just mooch off of Kelly's generator, and I had to get my own.
We had to be in campgrounds too, and we were too far away to connect
Yeah.
to the same generator. So
Yeah.
So that another negative about the campground.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you might end up running it today if you need a little bit more power.
Yeah,
but
fortunately.
you can top off now if you need
Right,
to.
yeah. Fortunately, it's late enough in the day where we did have solar earlier, and I did get topped off, and my computer charged, and, all the high energy usage taken care of early in the day.
Yeah.
And I have a very similar rig. I have a 24-foot travel trailer, no slide. But I have very inadequate solar for my batteries of the two 6-volt batteries, which is how many amps?
208 amp hours total, 104 usable.
If I have to charge my laptop, which is a MacBook Pro, I have a really hard time getting it back up, getting the batteries to recharge. But and I'd like to get something smaller eventually. I think I'd like to be a little more, just certain areas I'd like to be able to get into. So I need something that's a little higher, a little shorter, but it's doing the job for now. I like it okay. And been upgrading it some just because I know I'm going to have it for probably another year or so. So
Yeah.
putting little cute fancy
So
things
thinking
on
a little
there.
off-road trailer there.
Yeah.
Higher.
Yeah, higher ground clearance.
Yeah.
or-
Tires or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you guys don't have like a whole house inverters either, right? You
No.
just
And that's
have
another
the-
thing that would be really nice to have, I think.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, we just have little inverters that you plug into a 12-volt power outlet, the cigarette lighter plugs, and it works fine. I mean, the highest energy use that both of us have are our computers, and we don't try to run appliances off of our inverter. We've got a 12-volt TV, so we don't have anything really to run off the inverter. It's just a convenience issue. You got to take out the inverter and plug it in. It'd be nice where you just flip a switch and you've got power.
I've been kind of subscribing to using less and being kind of a minimalist, I guess. It's fun to see how little I need to live. But lately I've kind of been, it would just be nice if I had adequate power, if I could just do anything and everything I need to. So I would really like to up my solar so that I can, and maybe have an inverter. So even if I want to use my microwave, I don't have to take out the generator. So, that would be nice, I think.
Yeah. But
So you can do it as much as or as little as you want to. So
Basically.
as much as
Yeah.
little, because we do have a whole house inverter, and we have a lot of solar.
Yeah, you've got the roof
But, yeah,
full
we
of
have
solar
nice
here.
solar.
yeah, it's nice to have
So
if
it
you want
works,
it.
and it works for us because we are trying to. We use a lot more stuff than you guys.
Yeah, if you
do,
guys could look at
and-
what we're looking at right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
electronics
it's Electronic
galore.
City. So yeah.
we try to keep some stuff minimal, and we specifically
Yeah.
made sure we had propane run appliances
Right.
for this reason.
Yeah.
But you can get out there and do it with what you have. You don't have
Sure.
to have a crazy whole house inverter. You guys are running
Right.
your laptops off these inverters you plug in. They have ground deploys, so that works especially well when you get started.
Yeah,
You try it
very
out,
much
you
so.
put it out there, and it's great for if you're parked under a tree for shade.
Yeah.
Put it out.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it depends on your needs and
Yeah.
what you're going to use. I mean, our friend Becky right over there, she's got one 100-watt solar panel.
She got
That's
a
it.
single battery.
Yeah,
and
and
it works for her.
Yeah, she
Wow.
has her laptop. I guess it doesn't draw that much power, but
Yeah.
that suits her well. She's
Yeah.
fine with that. So again, it just
Yeah.
depends.
It really depends. It's
Yeah.
all based on your needs.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
what you want to use.
Yes.
That's great. So that's sorry, we're just talking here about you guys have been out boondocking almost exclusively.
Yes.
And I know that you have a number that's just
Burned in my mind.
amazing. Yeah.
Spreadsheet,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
why he's so good. He's a camp addict partner.
Yeah. Yeah,
Talk about
so in 2017, I spent, was it $38.85 in
Yeah.
campground fees, which equals
11
cents a
cents?
night
Yeah.
average.
Average a day for campground fees. He's not talking about all his living.
Right,
But
yeah, just campground
campground
fees.
fees. 11 cents. That's
11 cents a night.
What's that a month?
ridiculous.
That's math, and I
'Cause
don't...
that's more, people, what do you spend a month? They don't,
Well,
you know.
$38.85 a year.
Divided by 12, so
25.
3 something
Come
a
on.
month.
Okay, 3 something
Yeah.
a month for campground
Right.
fees.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not going to find that. And $38.85, and that's like you said, a week,
That's like
right?
Right,
It's
yeah,
like
that-
usually one night.
That would,
Right,
yeah,
exactly. That's usually
Yeah,
one night,
right.
and somehow he pulled off.
that was
a
a
week.
week at an Escapees co-op park in the dry camping area. So I didn't have any utilities, no hookups. And,
Yeah, so you're
Still
still
pretty
weren't
much
even
yeah, so I was
boondocking.
basically
still not plugged
boondocking.
in.
Yeah. Paid it for a week and lasted 5 days before I had to get out. It was 5 days was plenty in an RV park.
And that is the only time last year you
That's
were in an RV
the only
park.
time I was in an RV park. Anyways,
Anyway.
Yep.
But so yeah, I mean, for a year, that's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
And even like your past 2 years, it's been under $100.
yeah, the previous year I stayed once at Oregon Pipe National Monument in the very south of Arizona and spent $64, I think, that year.
Wow.
So,
Cut it in half.
yeah, so I cut it in half in 2017.
Half.
I guess
Oh,
next
it's
year he's
spending
going to
too
spend
much.
$15.
Yeah.
Right.
We can't go anywhere near an RV park this year.
Yeah.
So in about the last 2.5 years, I've spent under $100 in campground fees.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's truly amazing. And so you mentioned Becky's out here.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to get into kind of a few myths that happen around boondocking. And one is socializing. And I know you guys, you do kind of go out and find places that are a little remote. And maybe it's just the two of you. Or it's just the one of you when you split up, because you do travel separately sometimes.
Yep.
But that doesn't always mean it's like that, right? So,
Right.
Yeah.
So,
No, not at all. And actually, we had a chat, and we're going to start socializing even more and being around people, because I think you've kind of pushed that part, being like, oh, let's be away. But I'm like, nah, I'm like, you can follow me or not, but I'm going to start being more social. So we are. And so right now we're camped here with probably, there were about 15 rigs.
Yeah.
Now they're kind of people are
Starting to
moving
fade
but-
out, but there's still a lot here. It's kind of been a rolling convergence. So a lot of us were at the Escapers convergence together, and we've kept going.
Yeah.
It's kept moving, but it's
And
also winter.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
yeah, where, this time of year, full-timers accumulate
Have
in
to
two
be in either
areas.
Florida or
Or
southern.
the Southwest, yeah.
Yeah.
Very southern Southwest.
So it's a
Right.
very social time of the year, and rest of the year, you can be as social or not as social as you wish. I mean, you can.
Or now too.
Yeah, or even now.
Yeah.
But
If
you
you
know,
can find a place to hide right now.
yeah,
It's hard
yeah.
to do.
So I mean, you can even being next to 15 rigs, 15 groups of people that we know, it's still spread out more than an RV park.
Oh,
Mhm.
A lot more space here than in an RV park.
Exactly.
And you can be as social, like I said, as social or antisocial as you want to be when you're boondocking. It's really up to you.
if they're good
Right.
friends and they know how, to roll that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of it's an unspoken rule. It's like, well,
Right.
you don't feel pressured to have to do things, but it is still tough. You get that FOMO, fear of missing out.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's hard to balance work and play because,
It
you're
can
so
be.
tempted to just get out there
There's
and
a
play.
few people out there running and doing a SWAT canyon
I know,
today.
and some
We're
people
like,
don't have
"We've
jobs,
gotta
so
work."
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to stay and work and
We've got
get
to do
stuff done.
this.
Yeah, I could be
Come
hiking
on.
right now.
Could
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Right? But yeah, there's always this stuff. And yeah, you can find people, you guys, not even just you, just anybody can like go off and you can find your own little spot to stay and hang out and
Yep.
then meet up with just another RV, or you can make a group of 15 RVs, and
Yeah.
it just really depends. And it seems like when people get together, there's potlucks and,
Social
happy hours.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Dance
kind of whatever. You
parties,
show
there's-
up and you don't show up. It's all good.
Games.
There's a lot of stuff to do, though, even
Yeah.
in the desert.
Yeah.
But if you're just starting out, it's really helpful. That's what happened to me in Quartzsite. It wasn't just this group that I met up with, but they were kind of there in the area because escapers, right? Or were you?
Yeah, we had
It
planned to
just
be in the
started.
area,
It was-
but yeah, we were actually a few of us were actually all going to escapers. So
Yeah, so
also.
it's good to meet up with some kind of a club or a
Mhm.
group that you have similar interests with the people, because otherwise you could, like I did, I went and I parked right
Yeah.
there in Quartzsite in the middle of everything, did meet a soul.
Right.
It's like
Right.
you kind of gotta find something or have
Because it's
something
hard
in
to walk
common.
up to like
Well,
people
yeah.
out
Like,
Well-
yeah, you don't
boondocking.
know
You're
whether
not going
they-
up to somebody's RV.
No.
Right. And
Yeah.
in Quartzsite especially, they're all like little neighborhoods of people that know
Mhm.
each other, and you're kind of like the stranger butting in. Yeah, but definitely, if you're new to boondocking,
Yeah.
if you can find someone to take you out for the first time, find a convergence, an escapers convergence to attend. That's
Or any
boondocking,
club. There's
or
tons
any
of
club.
clubs
Yeah,
out there.
Owners
especially
clubs.
at like
Yeah.
Quartzsite, there's always in January, especially there's all these groups meeting there. There's people, brand owners for different clubs of like the Alpine. I think it was that was
Alpine
next to
owners,
us. The
yeah.
Alpine owners were next to
Mhm.
us, and then FMCA had some of their chapters were having rallies, and escapees were having rallies. So yeah, if you can hook into one of those, it's a good chance to get out there, meet people, and go boondocking with them and kind of learn from them too.
Yeah, because
Sure.
boondocking, if you've never done it before, can be the scary proposition. And if
Yeah.
you've got someone who is a seasoned veteran that is willing to hold your hand
Yeah.
and take you out for the first time, then you'll see that it's really not that bad, and you too could get hooked.
Right.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I did so much internet research before I did it.
Yeah.
Yet I think the most I learned was from people once I got out there, and it was like, oh, what's that? What is this? And they'd see something. Oh, what do you got there? And you just learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so another thing, and I kind of mentioned this with you guys, have gone to places that are remote, is people see the photos and it looks like we're in the middle of nowhere
Right.
and there's no civilization nearby. I mean, I know we've had people ask us, well, what do you do if you get hurt? Or what if your dog is sick? And it's like, well, the town's just like
Right
20
there.
minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make these things look incredible, but it's not always like true, right? I mean, it's not like you're so remote that you can't get to things.
No, I mean, it goes either way. I mean, I've been by myself perched on top of a hill in northern Colorado where I've got panoramic 360-degree views, and literally
Oh,
I'm
beautiful.
see no one in sight. But, 20, 30 minutes away is a rather large town, so you can
Okay.
be remote pretty close into civilization.
Yeah.
Yeah, I when I first started, that's another thing I was afraid of, and that's what I thought. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to like pack for Armageddon,
Right.
I'm gonna be in the middle of nowhere, so I'm gonna need to have food, just piled in my fridge, and it's just not that way. There's usually a convenience store or a grocery store, And when we've been traveling together, the farthest we've had to drive for a good grocery store was an hour.
Yeah.
That was atypical. It was like,
Very rare.
That was in
long
Idaho.
Me. That's strange.
Yeah. But yeah,
Normally, it's more in the 20 to 30 minute
minutes.
range. You've got to go
Or
to
less.
or less,
Right.
yeah, or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, out here, I mean, if you're in the east doing it, of course, things are going to be even closer. But out here in the west, where you think there's nothing out here,
There's
it's not
always
really
something.
true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you do get the feeling of kind of being out in the boonies because yes, like you said, you had that view, nobody was around. But you can still get to things. It's still close. Like sometimes for us it's just camera angles. You turn it one way.
Yeah.
Right?
We get really good at that.
Yeah, we're excellent at that. It's like, oh, it's fantastic and beautiful, but if you turn it the other way, maybe down
See all
there.
these
Like
ribs.
upside
Yeah.
down on your back and
Yeah.
everything, and then
Some other RVs around. Oh, there's a road over there that takes us into town. You know, it's not so remote that you can't get to things or you can't call someone unless you really find somewhere with no cell service for help.
And honestly, if you're out here, like we're parked with scattered people around. If something really goes wrong, you could probably just yell.
Right.
And people are probably going to come over and run and help. If you're in a neighborhood, probably not so much. But out here, it's like people are ready and willing to help each other. If you need, a certain wrench or something, well, we know these people. We go over and we ask.
Yeah.
So, there's this great sense of community.
Yeah, even with total strangers, there's a sense of community because we're all out here doing the same thing for basically the same reasons, and we know that we need to help each other when necessary.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, maybe when you were boondocking that first time, you weren't going up to random people knocking on their doors and asking them to hang out. But if you needed help,
you would have.
You would have.
I just started yelling.
Even a tool or something. You can go. I would be comfortable going up to some of these people parked around us that I don't know. Yeah. And just, do you happen to have this? Because you're all RVers.
Yeah. If we were staying in, like, Ketchum, which is a long road with very sparse spaces, I wouldn't, like,
Probably
I'd feel,
just
I mean,
driving
I wouldn't
into town.
go and, I wouldn't go knocking on someone's door there because everyone's pretty secluded. And most of the time people are looking for that seclusion. So I wouldn't go and just, do you have some milk? Like,
right.
Something like that. That would be kind of.
Milk's a little, not emergency.
Sugar. Sugar's okay, milk.
Yeah, right. Sugar you need.
Yeah.
You need that to live.
Right.
But the last kind of myth about, right?
I need my shots.
The last kind of myth about boondocking and stuff, if people feel like they need to be in a park to get signal so that they can keep working. If they're working, or even if they just need internet, because even if you're not working, most people want internet nowadays. Exactly. Streaming and Netflix and, I've got to check out the next place we're going. But here you guys are. You're running a business from your RVs, and before that, you were working on the road, and you're working boondocking in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with cell signal. It's going to either be good or bad. It doesn't matter if you're in an RV park or out in the middle of nowhere. You can have a bad signal in an RV park. You can have smoking fast service in the middle of nowhere. So it doesn't really matter. So an RV park is not a guarantee for good signal.
No, definitely not. I think we had some very bad signal at when the last place, I think the last RV park we were in. Yeah. We had some bad signal. So yeah, it really doesn't make a difference. I mean, the other thing I've heard about that is being comfortable with being able to dump whenever they need to and all of that, which I get from some perspective, but it's kind of learning how to manage your tanks and stuff like that. So you guys are comfortable with that now. And
we know how long we can go. And as far as finding a place to dump, there's generally always RV parks around, and they are glad to take your money to pay for dump and water. Municipal facilities, state parks, city parks. There's always a place. Yeah, fairgrounds. There's always some place to dump.
Rest areas.
Yeah, even rest areas. A lot of rest areas have them. Gas stations, Their dump stations are all over the place.
But it's definitely an Easter egg hunt.
Right.
There's not really, there's Santa dumps, but it's not like the easiest site to use.
Some states like Idaho actually publishes a big book of dump stations. It's like, hello, why doesn't everybody do this?
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Plus, they have a lot at their rest areas and things, which is kind of nice. It's nice and a little bit unusual, but very nice.
Very unusual. There are dump stations everywhere in Idaho.
Everywhere.
It's awesome.
Must be like a big camping state.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. But yeah, so, I mean, you guys have figured that out. You're comfortable with how long, you can last on your tanks. You know where the internet is. You make sure you're checking for signal before you really set up camp.
Yep.
I'm sure. I'm assuming you do.
And we have a pretty darn good idea that we're going to get good enough signal before we even go there.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
By looking at Campendium.
Yeah, look at
Look at people's
Campendium.
reviews and just see what they say about it.
Yeah, two main ways: Campendium reviews and just your network. Ask people who've been there. If you do this long enough, you get to know people and know who's been where, and you ask them.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I check with you guys in places. I'm like, I think they were up there. I'm gonna ask them, and also if I think you're up there, then I'm pretty sure that I care.
Yeah. We've been there. There's been decent service.
Yeah, if we've been there, there's service.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, is there any other things that you can think of that you'd like to hit before we?
So one of the other myths of boondocking is it safe? From a personal safety standpoint, is the boogeyman going to get me, or is someone going to break into my rig and steal my earthly possessions?
That's all I was scared of.
You want to talk about that?
But yeah, I'm a single chick, and so I thought about that when I left. I thought, oh, do I need to get a gun? I need to have this personal protection, because coming from a city, that's where you have the biggest, fears, and of course the media puts things into your mind. But just truly out here. There's no criminals out here. The first night when everybody left me, thanks God.
You're welcome.
That night I wasn't scared. I couldn't see anything. There was no lights. There were no cars. There was no traffic. It was me. No other trailers. Nothing. And I knew that night, I was like, I gotta let the dogs out, man. And it was dark, and it was just it was just weird. You get that like, woo, feeling behind you, that like, oh God, something behind me. Well, that's what I had. And so I was like, girls, you better go out, you better go fast. If you don't go, it's too bad. You're coming back in. So, but after that night, it was fine. And you just come to realize there's no criminals coming out here. Animals. There's no animals looking to attack us.
And
everybody out here is very friendly. There's low-lying fruit out here. And listen, no criminal is going to drive out of the city where there's lots of low-lying fruit out to here in the middle of nowhere where they have to drive, which uses gas, which costs money, to try to find some random rig who probably people are just vacationing in. And if they are, well, what's in there? Clothes and food. Great. And games.
Wow.
That is tempting.
You can steal my camp chair outside. That's
they probably have German Shepherd dogs in their rig. They might have their own protection. So it's not appealing. So it's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
The most uncomfortable I have been was when we were in that. It was a campground. It was free, but it was a campground in in Washington.
Yeah, in the Olympic Peninsula.
We left the next day because it was a super creepy vibe.
Yeah, spent one night and said,
that's
nope,
the
we're
only
out of here.
time I was like, yeah, I'm just not happy here. It was just a little uncomfortable and weird. So it's never happened boondocking.
Yeah, and again, that was not a boondocking location. That was a free campground.
Right.
And
Right. You might draw a different crowd.
Right, exactly.
Like that.
So absolutely, and again, as a single chick, when I'm by myself, I feel totally 100% comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless
you can do it.
The only places that might be an exception are boondocking places that are right outside of a big city. Like maybe if you're just outside of Las Vegas, close enough for creeps to be.
Or even sometimes in town, there's some kind of like little spots that you can do things.
Sure.
And it's different because you are in the middle of a city or a town.
And petty crime can happen there. So.
Yeah, but it's noisier and it's more crowded and it's just got a different vibe altogether. So you know when you're in an area like that.
You'll just get comfortable the more you do it. Like I have a hitch lock and I used to always put my hitch lock on when I left.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that thing in like a year or more. So it's there in case I need to park and leave it somewhere close to a city where maybe I'm just feeling like, this place is a little shady.
Right.
But otherwise, nah.
Yeah, who's going to be driving up these random roads to find out?
Right.
And that has a truck with a hitch that matches mine perfectly. And probably nobody.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. We really appreciate you coming and talking with us. I know everybody loves to hear what you have to say, especially from two boondocking addicts who do it almost all the time. Because as much as we do it, you guys kill it. I mean, $38 for the
Yep.
last year.
I might have spent less than that. I just don't keep track.
Yeah.
I think you spend more.
I don't think you're talking about storage. I've stored it.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever.
Oh, you both, basically, the whole year is boondocking.
Yep.
So that's pretty amazing. And you're running your business, Camp Addict, from it. That's
Yep.
campaddict.com. And we've got fightingmarshall.com and
Yep.
rvchickadee.com.
That's right.
And we're going to go hang out and socialize a little more here in the desert.
Yeah,
That's right. 4
socializing
o'clock
time.
happy hour over at Dave and Jan's.
Right?
Well,
So,
thank you very much for having us on.
Thank you very
We
much for having
appreciate
us.
thank you.
Always fun.
Always fun.
Yay.
We'll be
We never-
boondocking more with you
Who
guys,
knew we'd be
don't we?
doing this after meeting you, 2 years ago?
Right,
We'd
yeah,
all be sitting
exactly.
here.
You didn't have that. We didn't have this.
You
Yeah.
guys have already freedom.
And here we are making a show in the middle of the desert, boondocking.
Yeah.
So it's
Who
very
knew?
meta, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah.
Life
Yeah.
is great.
Well, thanks everyone. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this replay of our Facebook live show.
Join our Facebook community to participate in the live shows and learn how to live in an RV.
Go to rvtofreedomgroup.com to join the RV to Freedom Facebook group.
And to be notified about our next live videos and more, sign up with the link provided below in the video description.
We want to help you find your RV to freedom.